What's going on, good people? How we doing, good people? Let me know if I'm good again. If the audio's good, if the visuals good, if the visuals good, go ahead and hit me with a thumbs up or put a one in the chat if you can do that. But what's going on, everybody? How we doing today? Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Let the algorithm know that we in the building for sure. What's going on, everybody? Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. Was a happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. What's going on, everybody? How we doing, man? A lot to talk about. Well, actually, yeah, it's a lot to talk about, man. It's some things that are happening. Obviously, we know what the big deal is. We know what the big picture is. 3 games left in the season, and the New York Giants need to lock down this draft pick. It is very, very scary right now because so many teams behind us have 3 wins. So many teams behind us have 3 wins, and their strength of schedule is lower than ours or weaker than ours. So if we lose a game and these teams lose a game, we can drop from the number 2 pick right now to number 7. And that has me terrified right now. I am terrified about that right now. But shout out to everybody already that's in the building. Shout out to the new channel member, my man Tyrone Hall. He sent me a message earlier on the Evan Neal video that I put out saying that it was official. He's officially a member. So shout out to Tyrone. Excuse me. Also, shout out to Jay Ferris with the $5 super chat. He said, if we win another game and pick 7th, I might be done as a Giants fan for a couple years. Need that QB or else we dead inside. No hope. And I'm glad you said that. It gave me the first point to talk about. And again, that is the draft position. And I've seen some people go back and forth between Tankathon and NFL.com about who really has the number 1 pick. I believe NFL.com had the New York Giants having the number 1 pick. And then the Tankathon had the New York Giants having a number 2 pick. But when you look at the strength of schedule, right now the New York Giants should be locked in for that number 2 pick. And that's the scary thing, like I was just saying. If the New York Giants win tomorrow against the Atlanta Falcons, that gives us our 3rd win. We're going to need a lot of help from the guys behind us, from the teams behind us. Pause. That sounds crazy. We need a lot of help from the teams that are behind us with 3 wins also. We need them to start winning some games. All those teams that we could think of, we need those guys to win some games. But let me go do a quick roll call real quick. Shout out to family in the building. My big brother, Shamari in the building. What's going on? Tell everybody I said, hey, tell the family. Kiss the kids for me. Kiss the grandkids for me too. Tell everybody I said what's up. My man Fighter's Destiny also with the Merry Christmas. Yeah, we're not afraid to say Merry Christmas here. We give you respect for happy holidays, and again, we wish everyone all those great holidays, whatever one you celebrate. And if you celebrate them all, fantastic. My man Sean Clowney says, Dash, what's good, brother? You tell me, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I don't have any more stress when it comes to the New York Giants. I've accepted. Well, it's been a while. I've accepted it for a while now that the New York Giants season was over. I think we handled that about a month ago. And right now it's about the bigger pictures. I'm already looking at 2025. Exactly what I didn't want to do is talk about 2025 during the 2024 season, but we're here. Can't change that right now. Can't change it at all. Can't change it at all right now. Let me know how you guys are doing, man. How are you guys doing? My man Percy Harris says, happy holidays, bro. Giants tickets for the 29th are only $5. Wow, still go G, man. Yeah. Shout out to my man Mike, man. My Mike is Mike is a season ticket holder, and he did not go to the game. I think it was last week. Was it last week? Yeah. And he couldn't even sell his tickets. He couldn't give his tickets away. That's how bad it was, actually. Couldn't even give them away. Nobody wants to go see the New York Giants. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's see what happens. My man Steve Amendola says the It Birds are gonna win tomorrow, even with Mr. Injury rookie quarterback himself, Michael Penix. Now that's the one thing I did want to talk about. That's one thing I did want to talk about. Anybody that's been on this channel watching me for a while now, for at least a year, know how I felt about Michael Penix Jr., quarterback from Washington. Now, the quarterback that we'll be facing tomorrow for the Atlanta Falcons. I thought he was an outstanding quarterback coming out in last year's draft. He's going to get his debut, his NFL debut tomorrow against us, and we don't look the greatest. We still dealing with a lot of injuries. A lot of people are going to be inactive, and he might have a pretty good game against us. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. My man Omega, aka Cappuccino, says happy holidays too, fam. What's going on, man? How's everybody doing? Again, how's everybody doing? My man Bill Whaley says, "Oh well, there's always next season." That's a fact, man. Guess what though, man? The older I get, I need to win now. I'm not getting any younger. I need to win. It's been a long time already. Bill, it's been a long time already, Bill. Listen, I told you 2029. We need to win the Super Bowl by 2029 to keep the streak alive. I'm not panicked yet. It's 2024. I'm not panicked yet. If we get into like 2027 and we don't look like a team that's contending, I might be in full-on panic mode about our streak of winning the Super Bowl in every decade since 1980. Yeah. Christian Torres says, "What's up, Big Dash? What's going on, Christian? How we doing, man? How we doing?" Yeah. So earlier today, I'm gonna start talking, man. Earlier today, and again, today we're gonna talk about some things. I need a lot of interactive. I need you guys to be interactive in the chat, I should say, because I want to talk about some things, and I want to get the temperature in the room. So I made the video earlier today about Evan Neal and about how the New York Giants are not even wanting to move him to guard just to see what he looks like. And to me, I feel like that is a big mistake. Carmen Brasillo, I was reading the article in the New York Post from Ryan Dunleavy, New York Giants beat writer Ryan Dunleavy, and he was saying that Carmen Brasillo said, yeah, there's no, they're not trying to move him at all. He's a starting right tackle right now, and they don't see him moving at all to guard to see what he looks like. They don't even want to try him out. And like I said, I feel like that's a big mistake. Now, I understand why they are not doing it, because who do we have to put in at right tackle if you want to move Evan Neal? With Van Roten out, we're already short. Stinny's playing. So to me, it's like not Van Roten. I'm sorry. With Runyon out and Stinny playing, like you can't experiment right now, and that's because we have a lack of depth. But I think like right now, I don't have a lot of faith in Evan Neal. I'm not sure if you guys have a lot of faith in Evan Neal when it comes to keeping him at right tackle. But to me, I need to see him kicked inside for sure. I need to see in live games what he can do as a guard. We spent the seventh overall pick on him. He has not been good at right tackle. Let's go ahead and try him out at right guard, and let's try him at right guard now, so that we're not going into next season, because next season most likely Jermaine Illuminor is still going to be the right tackle. So at least we can go into next season, go into I shouldn't say the preseason, go into training camp and everything else, knowing or having an idea what Evan Neal can do. They won't do it tomorrow, but who knows? If he gets his butt kicked tomorrow, the next 2 weeks, the last two games, maybe they will try him in that guard. So let me know how you guys feel about, the New York Giants not wanting to move Evan Neal at all. Shout out to my man Smokey the Bear 239. He says, "Big Dash, what's up, my guy?" He said, "I hope the Giants lose tomorrow. We definitely need this high pick. Hoping we get it right this time at quarterback." That's a fact. I saw Deion Sanders was on Rich Eisen's podcast or his show. And again, they keep trying to clean it up. They all those rumors about Deion not wanting Shedeur to play in New York, they starting to clean that thing up. And exactly what a lot of people have been telling you guys. He can't stop a team from drafting his son at all. And also, why would you stop a team from drafting your son? That's the number one overall pick. That's a guaranteed slot, a guaranteed amount of money that you can get. He's not hating on that. Deion, at the end of the day, know what it's about. Know what it's about for sure. For sure. My man Sean Clowney says you have to move him, see what he can do. That's how I feel. I've seen enough at right tackle. Now, if you look at PFF, if you look at the grades, right now he's having his best season ever. But again, he's only played 346 snaps or 345 snaps this season. He was not a starter. He lost his job, and then now that everybody else is injured, he's in here finally. And yes, he is putting up better grades, but also is way less snaps. 346 this year. I think last year he had over 400, and then You figure his rookie year, he had over 700 snaps, and his grades were awful. Right now, with 340 something snaps, he's looking okay. Pass grade is still awful. Running grade is the best it's ever been. I believe his running grade, I had the stats in front of me earlier. Actually, I still have the handy dandy notebook here. So 86. His grade is an 86 when it comes to run blocking. That puts him at 4th out of 132 tackles. That's not too bad. But again, I have to take the snap count into consideration when I talk about that, though. Bill Whaley asks, what do you think about Odell Beckham coming back to the New York Giants? Odell Beckham will be back with the New York Giants to sign a one-day contract to retire as a New York Giant. That's the only way I see Odell Beckham coming back. 2 years in 2022, I wanted Odell Beckham to come back. Right now, you already know it's the writing's on the wall for Odell Beckham to me, and it sucks too, because Odell Beckham was on his way to getting a gold jacket in Canton, and then it was derailed. His career was derailed by injuries. His career was actually derailed by Dave Gettleman for trading him away. We did get Dexter Lawrence in return for that, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't see a return for Odell Beckham. Let me know what you think about it, though. Shout out to Ronnie. Ronnie in the bill. She said, I will be glad if the season is over. I'm assuming if the season is over or when the season is over, because it is pretty much over. Luann says, I want my Giants to be a good team in the playoffs every year. We never really had playoff teams back to back except for 2008. That's a fact. When Plaque shot himself, of course, killed another Super Bowl champ. That's a fact. That 2008 team was better than the 2017 that won the Super Bowl. Like point blank, period. And a lot of people will agree with you. If Plaque didn't shoot himself at a club wearing sweatpants with a gun in his waist, yeah, maybe we repeat. Maybe we were that good to repeat. Maybe. We'll never know, though. We'll never know. Ronnie says we need more than a quarterback. That's a fact. Now, thank you, because you know what? So I've been getting this a lot. Not saying that you're saying this, Ronnie. A lot of people are always saying, we need more than a quarterback. That is absolutely right. Not saying that you're saying this too, but a lot of people are using that as an excuse not to draft a quarterback with the first or second pick, depending on what we get. And I have to push back at that, because for some reason, and I think it's because a lot of people, the people that don't want to draft a quarterback just don't like the quarterback option. So they make it seem like all the New York Giants have is that first round pick. No, we have free agency. We have 7 rounds in the draft. And I believe right now we have 8 picks. Once we get our compensatory pick from what's his name now? Sheesh. McKinney. Once we get the compensatory pick from McKinney, we'll have like 9 picks in this draft. So we have more than enough, picks in a free agency. We got more than enough money to try to fill up a lot of these holes that the New York Giants have. But I just wanted to put that out there, because I keep seeing that a lot of people that don't want to draft a quarterback at 1 are saying, you know what, maybe we draft Travis Hunter or we trade back and get a boatload of picks. We already have a nice amount of picks. We could do some damage, and we got enough money that we can make some things shake in free agency as well. Shout out to Kelvin Davis. He says, I think he'd be a perfect guard. I think so too. I put up a comparison because a lot of people that push back against Evan Neal playing guard, they talk about his height. He's too tall to be a guard. To talk about his weight, he might be too big to be a guard. And then I said the perfect example, we see it with our division rival, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles with Mekhi Becton. Another guy that was drafted high, played left tackle, played tackle, I should say, period, was not good, dealt with injuries, was shipped off, moved to guard, and he looks like he's salvaging his career. I think the New York Giants need to learn from other people's mistakes, also our own. Even if you go back to Eric Flowers, he ended up being a pretty good guard. Nothing to write home about. But still, when you're not getting anything out of your 7th overall pick, why not move him? Why not move him to guard to see what you have? Because you're already not picking up the 5th-year option. Why wait? You got 3 more games in the season. It's not going to happen tomorrow, obviously. But you got 2 more games after that. Go ahead and move him to guard to see what you have, man. You got to see what you have. Shout out to my man Johnny Lovely in the building. Johnny be in the spaces too, man, hanging out with us. Let's see. Sean Klein, is Hyatt ever going to score a touchdown? You know what? I don't know, man. I had to retire the hat again. I retired the hat twice. I will say this though, he did get open last week. Ball went to Malik Neighbors instead, but he did get open last week a few times. But they're not using him, and he's not getting enough snaps, man. So my answer to that question, I don't think he scores a touchdown this year, and that sucks, man. It sucks to go to a man that's that talented. Now he's not the best route runner, I understand that, but he's still a talented wide receiver. For him not to have a touchdown in 2 seasons, what does that do for your mental? For him, he seems to still be confident. He still thinks he can contribute. I still think he can contribute. But what are we doing, man? Get him in the end zone, man. Get him a touchdown. Get him a game with 60, 70 yards. Get him a touchdown. That's what I need. I need at least, it's going to be a celebration whenever Hyatt gets a touchdown. That's for sure. Shout out to my man Wells, the NJ in the building. Hey, Wells, man, I totally forgot about the fight today. I don't even know who won the fight between Usyk and Fury. So let me know. Let me know. Luann Odell is washed. Yeah, I didn't want to say it. I love Odell, man. I didn't want to say it, though. Ronnie Rivers says, I agree, Dash. His injuries, yep. Yeah. My man Lucky BX with the $5 super chat. He says, I'm going to the game tomorrow with my Falcons fan. Oh, with your Falcons fan wife. I'll be decked out in my Giants gear. The objective is different. Number 1 draft pick. Yeah, so, well, first of all, hopefully you have a fantastic time at the game tomorrow. Hopefully you see Michael Penix Jr. get a chance to go off. Hopefully you just have a fun time with your wife at the game. Early Christmas gift. Shout out to you, man. And hopefully it's not too bad. Well, you said the objective is to get the number 1 draft pick. Maybe you wanted to be, the game to be out of reach. We'll see what happens though. Wells, the NJ says, we really gonna get the O at home. That's a fact. Does that well, tomorrow's game is away. Does it make us a better team next season? The losing? No, because we're losing and we don't know what's going to happen with the regime. So I don't think any of this makes us a better team. Not at all, because strategy, scheme might change depending on if we get a new head coach or not. So I don't think any of this stuff right now is helping us. What it is helping is those younger players, the ones that are still healthy, getting snaps and being able to develop. But as far as the team goes, camaraderie, stuff like that, nah. Being winless at home does not help at all. If that's what you're asking, I think that's what you're asking. Omega says, if Ward and Shador were in last year's draft, where would you rank them? I think I put a video last year about this. I had Shador still being a first round pick last year. I liked him right after Drake May. I had him slightly above Michael Penix before he decided to go back. But that's where I had Shador. Cam Ward was more of a project last year. Like, him going back to school was probably the best decision he made. I was originally mad when he decided to go back to school, and even more mad when he decided to go to Miami, because I think he could have went to like Ohio State or something like that. But he went right where he needed to be. He went to Miami, put that team on his back, and made them relevant again. But that's and I think last year Cam Ward was predicted to be like a 4th round quarterback, and you see what you can take. What you can do when you take advantage of the opportunities, for sure. Tyrone says Odell is done, a shooting star. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it's a wrap, man. When you're getting waived, like, you fell off, and I say that respectfully too, because it hurts. It hurts to say it. But he absolutely fell off. The injuries piled up, and he's not the same anymore. He's not. And then the funny thing is, if he played for the Giants, he probably would get on the field. That's our situation. But you never know, man. Look what happened with Shep. I thought Shep was cooked. He went to Tampa Bay, and he's making plays for Tampa Bay. What a difference a quarterback makes. Odell was in Miami with Tua, but he just couldn't get on the field either, man. Dope Dez, what's going on, Dope Dez? He says, Big Daz, we might win this one. A rookie is a rookie. Now, that's a fact. That's the part that scares me, because as much as I like Michael Penix, to your point, he still is a rookie. He can make rookie mistakes. But I'm looking at this defense and the UDFAs we have playing. The cornerbacks are in. Well, I believe, did they say Flott and Banks were playing? I know they said, yesterday they said they had a chance at playing We'll find out when the inactives get dropped tomorrow. But I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see. Luann, we don't need to draft a quarterback. I want a free agent quarterback. You're gonna get both, Luann. You might as well get used to it. You're gonna get both because obviously the quarterback room is right now, as far as contracts go. I believe Tommy DeVito's the only one that has a contract going into 2025. I don't know if we keep him, so we have to get a free agent quarterback anyway. Anyway, we'll see what happens though. Shamar says Odell 1 day retirement contract. That's what I was saying. That's the last time you see him with the New York Giants. His best. Well, he won the Super Bowl with the Rams, but I think as far as Odell, the superstar, Odell, the birth of the superstar is New York. So I think he will, sign a 1 year contract. I'm sorry, a 1 day contract and retire a New York Giant. Hopefully that happens. I hope so. If he wants to, he might not want to. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't want to. Bill says if the O-line don't get better, we need a new O-line coach. You know what? I don't think we need a new offensive line coach because I saw what the Raiders were last year and I see what they are now. And Carmen Basile was able to coach that Raiders offensive line with some UDFAs, to a top 15 offensive line last year. It only lasted for about a week or two, but still. And we saw here when we had everybody healthy, the offensive line performed. So I'm not going to say that he's terrible. I won't cry if he's replaced, if we get a whole new regime. But I don't think he's bad, though. I don't think he's bad at all. And you're not saying that he's bad, but you just say you want a better offensive line coach. And right now, the way this team is playing, I'm not going to argue with that at all, Bill. Not at all. Why would I? We don't have the luxury to argue over whether or not people are good on this staff or not. That's for sure, man. Shout out to Wells letting everybody know to hit that like button. Shout out to the 47 people that's in here right now. And again, do what Wells said. Hit that like button. Let the algorithm know we in the building, man. Get some more people in here so we can, talk a little bit before this game tomorrow. My man Ty 2 Vibe says prayers for Tank Dell. That's a fact. I watched that game. I saw it when it happened. That was a fantastic catch. I'm surprised he held on to the ball. What was the other wide receiver thinking? Obviously he didn't see him. And that play went on a little bit too long. So I don't know if they broke off their routes or anything like that, but that was a fantastic catch. Well, throw and catch. For Tank Dell, and you hate to see it happen. I believe the latest reports said it's like a dislocated kneecap. I saw some doctor on Instagram talking about he broke a bone in his leg. So I don't know what the real story is yet, but we'll see what happens. I know they carted him off though, so hopefully prayers to him. Hopefully it's not as serious as the first initial reports say, but you know what, we're praying for the man for sure because he can't catch a break. He got injured last year, then he got shot in the off season, and I'm not laughing at that. I'm just talking about his luck. It's like, man, what's going on? What black cloud is following this kid around? Shout out to my man Ralph El Capitan. He says, "Hey, what's up, Dash? Raph in the building. I see you, Raph. I see you. El Capitan, what's going on?" Raph is a Raiders fan for y'all that don't know, and the funny thing is, Raph is a Raiders fan, but still considered as an honorary New York Giants fan. We like Raph for sure. Usyk won by decision. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's what's up. Was it unanimous decision? Did he just beat him up? And also did Fury look cooked or did he look pretty good still? I'm curious. Okay, there you go. Was a good boxing match. None of this YouTubers versus old guys or retired MMA fighters. Proper boxing match. Okay, that's what's up. We need more of that. We need more of that for sure. I would still love to see Canelo beat the brakes off of Jake Paul though. I would still love to see that. I would love to see that. Dope Dad says, Big Dash, I hope you can get some sleep because the Steelers lost. Chill out, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. It just simmered down in the house. It just simmered down. Don't do that. Luann says Giants will win this game. I feel it. Maybe. They might. Now, Luann, though, the situation is I understand you don't want a quarterback, but you know what it means if the New York Giants win this game. We don't just drop from like number 2 to like number 3 or 4. We drop all the way to 7. So if you want to build this team proper, and if you're in the camp of people that, want to trade back and get more picks, all that goes out of the window if the New York Giants win. We dropped to 7. Nobody's trading up to 7, maybe depending on who falls, but you're not getting the same kind of boatload of picks, at 7 that you would have at 1 or 2 for sure. So it's not in our best interest, but to your point, we might win it. We might. Ronnie says they need to have the plan ready because we need so much, and we need to improve with the coaching. We need to address the trenches. That's one thing that we need to do. Outside of the quarterback, we need to the trenches, address the trenches on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Cornerback is also, very big. I think we need another edge rusher because I believe Azeez Ojulari is going to be gone. We're not going to bring him back. So yeah, we do need a lot still. And I am going to put out a video. I'm working on that now. The top needs for the New York Giants outside of the quarterback. I'm leaving that off because obviously everybody knows, except for Luann, that we need a quarterback. No, I'm joking. All right. Bill Whaley says our O-line is so bad they couldn't block a fly on a hot day. Yeah. 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 I can't argue with you, man. I can't argue with you. Lucky BX says the elephant in the room is the Giants have never drafted a black quarterback. Do you think it will finally happen if the New York Giants end up with the first or second pick overall in the draft? They have no choice in the matter. That's just how I feel. They have no choice in the matter. Unless something crazy happens and news stories drop or something and these guys become untouchable, than that. But if the New York Giants have the number 1 or the number 2 pick going into the draft and everything stays the same as it is right now, the New York Giants most likely will be drafting a black quarterback for sure. I mean, that's what it is. The two top QB prospects right now are 2 black quarterbacks. I need a quarterback regardless of what color he is. I need a quarterback that can play. I need a quarterback that can throw the ball. Last year I was rooting for Tommy DeVito. I was rooting for Drew Lock before the season got out of hand. Like it doesn't matter to me. I just know that the 2 top quarterbacks in this draft happen to be black quarterbacks. Wales to NJ says it's by design, though. Coach of the year to 2-15. Nah, that's by design. You know what's crazy about that too? Because, and I talked about it, a lot of people feel like these guys still deserve to stay. Both of them, and I know how the Big Blue Crew feels about Brian Dable. I know you guys like Shane. Well, I can't say you guys, I don't lump everybody together, but I know a few of you guys still like Shane, still want to give Shane a chance, and you're absolutely out on Dable. You guys know me. I'm out on both of those guys. But by design, I don't know. I think that Joe Shane threw Brian Dable under the bus. And I think that no matter what happens in these last couple of games, that at least one of them is going to be gone. And most likely that's going to be Brian Dable, and we might be stuck with Joe Shane. I don't want either one of them. It is what it is, though. Shout out to my man TD Midas. He says, not worried about Penix, worried about Bijan. Yeah, because we can't stop the run. They got 2 running backs. They got 2 of them that do a heck of a job, too. We'll see what happens, man. But yeah, Bijan, yeah. Hirsch for real says Dable knows his job is to tank. Listen, yes. I'll say yes to that because now we actually see what the tank looks like. Like against Carolina, against Dallas, against Tampa Bay, we were still trying to win those games. We were not tanking at that time. We still had Dex in there. We still had Bobby Okereke in there. Guys were playing still. After that Dallas game, the tank was in full effect. I do believe that Dable, I can't say that he's not, how do I say it? I think that he might have been, given the okay with not trying as hard, I should say, instead of tanking, with sitting guys and not pushing guys to play or whatever happens there. But I think he knows that he's on a hot seat. And I think if you're really tanking, you got to make it look a little bit better than what it's looking at right now. What it's looking like right now. You got to be able to move the ball on offense. You got to be able to score more than 10 points at home on average. So even if he got the okay to tank, I still think he's gone. Daniel Jones was not enough to satisfy the fan base, to satisfy, sports media. Daniel Jones was not enough. They still need somebody else. And I think that somebody else is Brian Daboll. I really do. I really do. Hyatt needs to get a chance. That's a fact. We definitely need to draft a quarterback. That's a fact, too. Let me try to get caught up to some of this. Shout out to my man, Mick Torture. Says, Dash, what's going on, Rick? Luann asks, what free agent quarterback would you want? I want Jameis. I like Jameis Winston. I like Jameis Winston for a few reasons. I think he can mentor, and I also think he still has some left in the tank. He still makes a lot of mistakes, but he's also a high character guy, and we need somebody like that in the locker room. So no matter who we draft in the draft, I would look at at bringing in Jameis Winston just because of his energy, the positivity that he brings, and also the leadership, because we don't have any like real vocal leaders in the locker room. We got Dex is trying, he's growing. Bobby Okereke is vocal, but his play on the field is not matching. Spider Burns is trying to do it as well, but nobody with the kind of impact that I think that Jameis Winston will be able to have on the entire locker room, not just one side of the ball. I will say that. That's one person that I will look at. Some people are saying Kirk Cousins. To me, Kirk Cousins looks cooked. And then also you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. A lot of people will say Justin Fields, but we don't know what the situation is with Fields in Pittsburgh. Or is Pittsburgh going to bring him back? Is he comfortable with being the backup, to Russell Wilson? So it's going to be some guys out there that we can sign as far as veterans quarterbacks, but we'll see how it plays out. Because you know what, these teams still got a chance to bring people back. The Browns might want to bring back Winston. We'll see what happens though. Shout out to Mosley in the building. Says salute to me and salute to the chat. What's going on, Mosley? All right. So Ronnie says, talking about DeVito. Yeah, he's the only one that's under contract. In 2025. They might keep him, but he doesn't change anything as far as what the plans are. We've seen it. We've tried it 2 times, and I don't think anybody's buying it for sure. Dope Dez says the Giants have drafted a black quarterback. He didn't make it past the preseason. You're talking about the kid from Kentucky. I can't remember his name right now. The kid from Kentucky, I think we drafted him in like the 5th round. Now that I'm remember, yeah, you're absolutely right. They did draft him. That was during the reign of Eli Manning, though, so we already knew. Well, nothing really happened. I can't remember that guy's name. He played for Kentucky. I can't remember his name right now, though, but we did draft him. That's a fact. I forgot about that. Thank you, Dope Des. Tony High Point says, Dash, what's good, brother? We want the Giants to lose this week, but they might kick up and beat the Falcons. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, Tony. That's what we talked about that. It's a little bit of fear. It's a little bit of fear in the room. We don't want to mess up this draft positioning. But now you're absolutely right. And I think that the Falcons chose us to start, chose this game to start Penix because they thought it would be an easier game for him to ease his way into the NFL, or I should say real games. So they definitely did that for a reason. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see how it plays out. JC says, I'm with you, Dash. Clean the whole house. Let's get it. That's how I feel, man. Clean it up. I'm not like, I jumped around a lot this season too. I went back and forth. I was like, Dable's calling the plays finally. If he goes out, he's going to go out on his dime, this, that, and the third. And then now it's like, you know what? I like the rookies. The rookies are playing better. This is the best rookie class. And then I'm just thinking about it. Like, it's not enough. Like Dable winning coach of the year in 2022 is not enough now that we're at the end of 2024. Joe Shane's finally had, a draft class, the majority of a draft class contribute. But to me, it's not enough when you're looking at 2022 and 2023. It's not enough people contributing in the draft class. When I look at other teams and I look at some of the players they draft, Like all of those guys are playing. Like from 2 years ago, from 1 year ago, all of these guys are playing in some capacity. Maybe they're not all starters, but they're all playing. When I look at some of the names for us that we drafted in 2022 and 2023, most of 2022, well, half of 2022 is not even on the team anymore, or either not even contributing or hurt. It is what it is. Tim Boyle. It's funny. Where'd to go? TD Midas says, if Tim Boyle is starting, I'm scared we can actually win. That's funny. I saw that. Who was it? Justin Pinnock. Yeah, talking about Tim Boyle was the most comfortable quarterback for the New York Giants. And I saw that too. When I went back and watched that game last week, the one thing I said, and I was saying it all summer, give your playmakers a chance to make a play. Tim Boyle got out there and he played like he knew he had Malik Neighbors on the team. Let me take that chance and throw that shot, throw that pass to Malik Neighbors, see if he comes down with it. And what he was coming down with it. Like that's what you wanted to see. We didn't want a quarterback sitting here patting the ball. We want to see a quarterback get the ball out of his hands and let the wide receiver try to make the play. And we saw that last week. And the funny thing is that as soon as they saw a little bit of success with Tim Boyle, all of a sudden Tim Boyle's gone. Where is he now? He's a third string quarterback again. And he looked the best last week. It's just like when Trey Hawkins got the interception in that game. Next thing you know, he's on IR. It's like as soon as somebody makes a good play, they put him on IR. They find a way to put him on the bench again. They're not trying to win these games. So anytime you see a bright spot now, it's like, no. We don't need that. We're trying to lose. It's crazy because you can see it, man. You can absolutely see it. Let's see. Shout out to James Fraser. He says Joe got his chance at quarterback and he put his money on Jones. So why we keep saying he ain't have a chance? He ain't have a chance. He drafted a receiver when he should have listened to his son. That's a fact. That's a fact because not just his son, his daughters too. All his kids told him, and they all had different quarterbacks that they wanted too. All of them told their father, draft a quarterback. What are you doing? Draft a quarterback. And it's like an inside joke for me with Joe Shane's son, because like I said, I grew up in Jersey. They're in Jersey. I know how these kids can be. If your father is Joe Shane and you go to school and a lot of that the kids in that school are Giants fans, he's getting picked on, or he's the butt of a lot of jokes. He can't live it down. He was on Hard Knocks. He goes to school, and every time the New York Giants, what's crazy? They probably feel bad for him now. Like the first couple of losses, they probably were letting them have it at school. Now everybody just feels bad, probably. Man, Tyrone Hall says he said the body, the streets, the man, a body named Dable. Now that's the body you're going to get for sure. The question is, are you going to get Joe Shane too? But Brian Dable is absolutely walking the green mile. Dead man walking for sure. For sure. It's just a matter of time with Dable. I think he knows it. The fan base knows it. I think we should know it, or at least we should not be surprised by it. Dable's gone, man. Dable is gone. Knicks playing like crap against the. What's the score in the next game? Woodson, that's his name. That's a fact. Yeah, Woodson. Woodson from Andre Woodson. Thank you, Andre Woodson, and I believe he was from Kentucky. He was from Kentucky, right? Andre Woodson. That was his name. Yep. Wow, yeah, he didn't make the team. Like, it was some bad quarterbacks. Like I thought he was all right. Was it Buffalo? What was Andre? No, Woodson was from Kentucky. He was from Kentucky. It was low. It was another guy that was from Buffalo though, that ended up being a tight end. Yeah, Andre Woodson was his name. That's a fact. TD Minus says, I can't confidently say that the Giants owners are racist. The black quarterback renaissance started to happen while we still had Eli. Now, listen, it's you can argue it. You can argue it for sure. You can absolutely argue it. I'm just saying this year, the two top quarterbacks are black,
and the New York Giants absolutely need a quarterback. So we'll test it today. I mean, we'll test it in 2025. We'll test it in the draft. We will find out, TD. We will find out for sure, and they can't hide. Thank you. His name is Andre Woodson from Kentucky. I'm late too, man. Let me get caught up a little bit. Let's see what's going on. Shout out to my man Tudo in the building with the $4.99 super chat. He says love and respect to Dash and Wales and diehard Giants fans across the pond. Greetings from my mates in Cardiff, Wales, and it ain't the first time on your live show, mate. Appreciate you too. Tudo, you don't let nothing go, man. You don't let nothing go. I apologize last week, Tudo. You proved me wrong. Shout out to Tudo, man. Are you stateside for Christmas, Tudo? Let me know. Shout out to Jay Ferris with the $4.99 super chat. Just to shout out Tudo. You got folks spending money just to shout you out, Tudo. Nah, shout out to Tudo for sure, man. Shout out to Jay Ferris too. Let's see where else. Get back to where I was. I said Amber says maybe he doesn't have a good enough team. Maybe who doesn't have a good enough team? You talking about Dable? Luann says, let Dable finish out his contract. I truly believe he will have this team in the playoffs next season. He could. I'm just saying, like right now, I don't think there's any way that you bring him back without something else has to happen. Like you can't have a season this bad where you're winless at home. We are winless at home, and we're averaging 10 points at home. I don't know if he can survive that. We're talking about the whole regime changing, and then you thinking like nothing's gonna happen, nobody's gonna lose their job. I don't know. That's it. It's gonna be very, very hard to try to get away with that. That's almost robbery to the fans. We'll see what happens though. Nothing's impossible. Shout out to my man Brian Sutton in the building. He says that is directly attributed to Joe Shane. Talking about the roster, I'm assuming. True. Listen, I like Brian Dable. I liked Brian Dable. I definitely like him more than Joe Shane. And if I had to pick between the two, and I've said this plenty of times, I'm picking Brian Dable over Joe Shane. I think what Joe Shane has done picking this roster, putting this team together is just horrible. And I think that Brian Dable showed you, at least Brian Dable showed you he could win. At least he showed you that. Joe Shane hasn't showed me anything except for Malik Neighbors getting 1,000 yards or on his way to 1,000 yards and Tyrone Tracy on his way to 1,000 yards. That's all. At least Brian Dable got coach of the year. At least he took the team to the playoffs and got a playoff win. But Joe Shane is hanging his hat as a New York Giants GM. He's hanging his hat on Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy. Are you kidding me? Absolutely got to be kidding me. Not enough. Not enough. My man Mark says Penix to Pitts will be featured for the Falcons. Also, Hampton from UNC to the Giants will give a remake of Lightning and Thunder combo with Tracy. Hey, Big Dash, keep rocking. What's going on, Mark? Hey, Mark, I got some. Like I said, as soon as the season is over, I'm jumping right into the college stuff. We're not taking any breaks. I'm jumping into a lot of college stuff, and I know you always throw out names. It seems like you know a lot about college football too. So I hopefully you're able to join in those lives. Once we get into 2025 for sure, because I will be trying to bounce some ideas off you and some names too as well to see how you feel about it. My man Sean Clowney says Giants need to squash the beef with Brian Flores and hire him as a coach. I've heard a lot of people say that. There's some momentum with that. Do we think that they can bury all of the bad juju between the Giants and Brian Flores? Maybe, possibly. I will say this: if we do change regimes, I do want a defensive head coach. We've tried the offensive head coaches for outside of Joe Judge. But we've tried it a few times, and it has not worked out for us. Let's go ahead and get a defensive head coach and hire a nice up-and-coming OC or maybe a veteran OC as well. We'll see what happens. A lot, when you think about bringing another coach in, you have to think about both sides of the ball, but I do want a defensive head coach I think it's time to do that. But also, like I said, we need to pay attention because we do have some weapons on the offense, and we need to be able to take full advantage of the roster that we have for sure. All right, Ronnie going back. She says Winston, I think, is not a good fit. We need Stafford. I don't think they're getting rid of Stafford for the Rams. I think Stafford is playing, like not like a franchise quarterback, but he's still a good enough starter and a good enough bridge. I think Stafford has probably another good 2 years left. I think if the Rams are in a position to get somebody like Jackson Dart in maybe day 2 or day 3, I think that they keep Stafford long enough to bring in or to develop that the other quarterback. We'll see what happens with that though. But I would love to have Stafford too, but I don't think the Rams let him go. He is the man right now for the Rams and can also be the bridge too if they get somebody else in that building. You saying Joe's son should be the GM? Yeah, pretty much. I don't even know his son's name, but yeah, he was telling his father what to do, and his father, Joe Shane doesn't listen to anybody. Like I make fun about him not listening to his son or his kids telling him to pick a quarterback. That's one thing. But when you watch Hard Knocks and you look at the some of the other player personnel guys that were in the building, they were asking him questions, saying certain things to him, and he just was not listening to him at all. Or he just thought that he was like the smartest person in the room, and that what he knew was just better than what everybody else was telling him. And he ended up being wrong a lot. The way that it played out, a lot of those other people in the room, a lot of those other voices ended up being the right voices. And Joe Shane is sitting there looking like an idiot. Flat out looking like an idiot. No need to sugarcoat it. My man NYC TV NYC, he says the coach is not going anywhere. You see that every time they ask him about his job. What do you expect? What do you expect him to say? Or what do you expect him? Yeah, what do you expect to say for him to say at the podium? That I know I'm getting fired at the end of the year. No, he's going out there with some confidence. Like even with the regime, a lot of people don't believe the regime is going to be back, but they're still going out there and scouting. You still see Joe Shane at Colorado and going to these Miami games and everywhere else. They still have a job to do. They're getting paid to do a job. But I don't think him saying he's not worried about it at the podium makes him any safer. And who knows what he tells his wife when he gets home. He's probably scared to death too. Like 10 points a game, no wins at home. Like I would be terrified if I was Brian Daboll right now. Well, I wouldn't be terrified because I know I still got 2 years, 2 years on my contract yet, and I'm still going to get paid regardless. But he has to be like it has to be in the back of his mind. You can see it. It has to be in the back of his mind that what, I might be fired at the end of the season. There's no way that he's not thinking about it. James Frazier says, without having Saquon Barkley shows how good of an offensive coordinator Brian is because Saquon was the coach, the leader, the playmaker, and the franchise. True. Jabari says, in true Giants fashion, we might just win tomorrow. That's a fact. That would be a Giants thing to do. And the difference, like last year, I wasn't on it the way I'm on it right now, as far as not caring. Like last year, we had the DeVito run, we had Tyrod Taylor at the end of the season, and I was like, yeah, let's win these games. Let's do this. Let's do that. This year, it's like, no. I'm sitting here like I got my eyes on the prize right now. Now I know when we get into these games, like even last week watching the game, I'm like, I'm want to see some good plays. I was loving seeing the connection between Boyle and Neighbors. I like seeing that. I like seeing that development. But I don't like it more than I want this number 2 or number 1 and number 2 pick. I know that much. Knicks down by 1. Thank you for the update. Shout out to my man TP Way the Giant. He says, Peach Dash, I had a good laugh at the reporter asking Daboll if he's worried about his job security. And he just said, I just had a good conversation with Mara. And then the reporter said, but what was it about? Yo, That was Pat Leonard, because I know Pat Leonard's voice. That was Pat Leonard that asked those questions. And every time Pat Leonard is on a mission right now. If you guys don't know Pat Leonard, you guys have to know Pat Leonard. He is on a mission. He asks a lot of those questions that he's asking is for a reason. He has a certain agenda. And shout out to Pat. I always listen to Pat. I've been on a couple of his streams, commenting with Pat. We both like old fashions. But yeah, Pat is on a mission. So he's asking all of those questions to get under the coach's skin. And even now, when they don't even like to call on Pat. Jordan Renan is getting that way too, with Brian Daboll, with this regime too. They don't want to answer those questions from Pat or Jordan Renan. Now, Art Stapleton and Schwartz, Paul Schwartz, those those guys are a little bit more friendly towards the regime. But you got guys like Pat, Jordan, Dan Duggan is another one. Those guys, straight shooters, not holding anything back. Pat got some extra sauce on it, Pauls, for sure. For sure. A lot of people showing Tuto some love. Wales too. There you go, Bill. Bill says it's like Ben McAdoo all over again. It kind of feels like that, where you get, we have 11-win season. We were 11-5 that first year McAdoo took over as head coach. Went to the playoffs, lost in the playoffs to the Packers. But you had some energy, and then it fell apart the year after that. Of course, we had the whole Eli getting benched thing, and then everybody getting fired type stuff that happened. But it does kind of feel like that, like you have confidence in the coach, and then you absolutely lose all confidence the following season. So it is like that that Ben McAdoo situation for sure. I agree with that. That's a good comparison, great comparison actually. Jay Ferris says kind of feels like Shame's not going anywhere. And that's another thing, too. A lot of people calling Joe Shane, Shame with an M, Joe Shame. Brian Flores is from Brooklyn. That's a fact. He is a New York native. I will say this, true, real transparency. When it came to Brian Flores, I actually wanted Brian Flores in 2022. But I was also happy with Daboll. I'm not going to sit here and lie like I wasn't happy that we ended up getting Brian Daboll. But Brian Flores was first on my list for the same reasons. I wanted a defensive-minded head coach. But again, Brian Daboll came in here, won me over, went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and the rest was history after that. And now we're right back at the beginning. Brunson is going off. Okay. Let's see. James Frazier says Joe looked nervous when the Giants media asked him about addressing the cornerback position because he knew Malik was cooking Banks in training camp and in camp one-on-ones. Now that's a fact. He wasn't just cooking Banks. He was cooking what's the guy that just left, McLeod. He was cooking Flott for sure. He was cooking everybody. He was cooking the Detroit Lions when we had the joint practice. Like neighbors can cook. We just, and we saw it early on in the season. We just got to give him the opportunity. Now, he did have a lot of drops. I don't want to not say that because, TP will let me know about myself if I don't talk about the drops as well. But we know what we have with Malik Neighbors. We know what we have. We just got to keep feeding them the ball. You like the Brian Flores pick? Yeah, I did too. Like I said, who knows, man? He maybe they can settle whatever the issue is with the lawsuit. And maybe we can bring him in here. We'll see what happens. But the whole point is, does he want to come back here? Does he? Is that bridge burned? And then also, it depends on who's going to be picking the coach too, because a lot of these, if it's a new GM, they have their own relationships. We'll see what happens. Says on the DL, between the lines, a lot of dudes hate Joe Shane. Yeah, a lot of people don't like him. Shout out to my man Tuto with the $4.99 super chat. He says, Dash, no holidays for us after our loss to Welshman Warriors yesterday. We're still in the playoff wild card race, 13-7. Hopefully we'll make it to the next level. I hope so too, man. I hope so. And like best of luck to the team, to your fellow players. Tell them I said good luck as well. And I know you guys can do it, man. That's for sure. You guys can do it. Jay Hernandez says Brandon Brown, Brian Flores, and Cam Ward. And the response to that from Jay Ferris is bet on black. You guys are hilarious, man. My man Mark says Flores is a great defensive play caller. He can take away shifting receivers. Look how he schooled Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, that game was a masterclass. There was no answers. They didn't have any answers for him. That was a masterclass. And when you really look at that Minnesota Vikings, it's a good team. They put a good team together. It's some players on that team, but when you look at that, when you think about that defense, like who's the real superstar for the Minnesota Vikings? Like who's the superstar over there? They got a bunch of young guys in the team that's just playing hard for their coaches for sure. Man, D Grant says, Big Dash, I will bet you $100 that Dabo keeps his job. I will not bet you $100 on that. Nope, no, sir. I don't think it's gonna happen though. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I'm not gonna bet though. Tone Lamont says with the $2 super chat says, I'm late. Fire everyone. Mara has to fire everyone. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I wish Mara could fire himself, but that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. We gotta wait for him to pass the title along of the head of football, or the president, I should say, the president of the New York Giants. Maybe that goes to his nephew, Tim McDonald. Yes, he said, wasn't Pat the reporter Dable stared down 2 months ago? Absolutely. Pat Leonard was also the guy 2 years ago when they had rumors about Kadarius Toney being traded, and Joe Shane and Brian Dable said we're not trading Kadarius Toney. That they were talking to Pat then too. So Pat been on it for a while now. Bill Welly says, does anybody realize Isaiah Hodgins hasn't been on the field this year because he is better than Hyde? Now, I'll say this: he did get brought up from the practice squad in a few games. I wanted Hodgins to actually, make the 53. I thought that he would do better than Bryce Ford Wheaton. Obviously, the coaches didn't think that way. And then Isaiah Hodgins still on the Giants practice squad. And listen, I liked Hodgins. I actually did. But when you had bad quarterback play, it is what it is. Wells says you can't clean house every 3 years, mate. For me, it's not cleaning house for the sake of just cleaning house. I wasn't feeling the way that I felt. I wasn't feeling the way that I feel right now a year ago. I was all on board for this coaching staff. It took me a while to get where I'm at right now, and I'm at the point right now where it's just too much bad. It's too much bad to sit here and just keep guys for the sake of not cleaning house. Like if you want continuity, I understand, that's what works, overall continuity, but you can't overlook 10 points a game. You can't overlook winless at home. You can't overlook, just how bad we don't even look like we belong in the NFL at certain points of the game. Actually, for most of the season, we don't look like it. Yes, we had, the Browns game, and yes, we had the Seahawks game, but outside of that, like, it's not just the New York Giants are playing bad. It's to a point where we're not even watchable. And somebody has to answer to that, man. And if you don't want to clean house completely, we do have an option, and a lot of people have been talking about it. If you do not want to clean house completely, fire Joe Shane, promote Brandon Brown. You keep most of your scouts here. You keep most of the player personnel in the building. You allow Brandon Brown to keep, or to hire his head coach, or decide whether or not he wants to keep Dable or not. And then you can keep some continuity with it. You're not completely cleaning house, but you're getting rid of a lot of the bad things. But I just can't. I don't think we're just cleaning house just to clean house. And guess what? We were cleaning house every 2 years. It was every McAdoo 2 years, Shermer 2 years, Judge 2 years. These guys got an extra year when you really think about it. Nobody else got that third year. These guys got that third year, and what did it do for them? What did it do for them? It solidified things for me. Is it Chinito? Is it Chinito? He says, if Joe and Brian get fired, I wouldn't care if they stay or still wouldn't, or if they stay, I still wouldn't care. So you don't care either way. You just, the Giants have just killed all emotions that you have left, huh, Chinito? TP Way says, thanks for mentioning that. Now that's a fact. I know you won't let it go if I don't mention the drops too. Shout out to my man Jay Ferris with the $4.99 super sticker this time. Appreciate the love and support, brother. Appreciate the love and support. D Grant says, no Brian Flores. Why do you say no to Brian Flores? I'm curious to know. He's a fantastic coach. He's a New York native. The team plays hard for him. Why is it a no for Brian Flores? Is it the lawsuit? And guess what? Because Mara loved Brian Flores. Like, a lot of people forget that. Mara actually told Brian Flores when he went to go interview with Joe Shane, they told him, Tim McDonald, they told him, hey, Brian Flores, go win that job. Mara liked Brian Flores. But guess what? Brian Dable was Joe Shane's guy. And also Brian Dable was a hot name. A hot name coming out that year. That's why nobody was mad when we got Brian Dable. You know, he had all that success with Buffalo and Josh Allen. And we looked at Brian Dable like he could fix Daniel Jones. And it looked like he had him fixed. 2022, it looked like he was fixed a little bit. He was tinkering around a little bit. It looked like he was fixed, and everything fell apart after that. Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh. What about Harbaugh? Well, says you can't fire everyone. This is ignorant. Yeah, you can't fire everybody. Not everybody. You know, you got to keep the janitors and the lunch staff. I'm messing with you, Wells. You know, keep the janitors, keep the lunch staff. You know, keep the maintenance. You know, you can keep those guys around. Oh man, Guy Wimper is here. What are we talking about, Guy Wimper? Are you saying Guy Wimper's in the chat? What are we talking about? My man Solution says you can't continue to double down on a mistake either. I think that's directed at Wells. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I understand that, you got to, be steadfast and, stick to it. I think that's what that third year was. And the other thing is this, though, because in Wales, I'm talking to you when I say this. The other thing is this: if you don't want to make the change yet, right? But say you keep these guys, they draft their quarterback, they try to they get all their free agencies, they get the rest of their draft picks, and we go into next season, and we still don't get the results that we want. Is it fair to that quarterback that we just drafted that we just change everything then, or do you just clean? I mean, it's like 9 times out of 10 the New York Giants are getting a quarterback early in this draft. Is it fair to that quarterback that they get into a system after their first year if they're not successful to tear it all up again, and then now that same quarterback has to learn a whole new system? I think there's too much pressure. The hot seat is already boiling, and I don't want these guys to draft their quarterback going to the season and coach with the mind state or with the mindset that we got to win. We got to win. Everything got to look perfect. It has to look better than we got to put a better product on the field. I don't want them coaching with that kind of pressure. We need to develop whatever quarterback we get. We need to develop that person. The atmosphere needs to be right as well. And all that pressure and outside noise on the coaching staff and also on the gym, I don't think that's good moving forward. 3 years to build this roster. Not 3 years to be a contender, but 3 years to build this roster to be competitive even in the division. We're not even competitive in the division, and we can also argue that we've gotten worse. 2022 was a fantastic year. 2023 was a step back. 2024 was an even bigger step back, and now we're sitting here like we're almost starting this thing over anyway. Like, we keep saying, oh, we got to rebuild. We started the rebuilding process and it did not work. Like, even if we keep the same regime, it feels like an entirely new type of rebuild, except for it's not a true rebuild because You're not giving these guys the same amount of rope. They don't have the same kind of grace period. Because if they don't succeed next year, they're just going to be in the same position that we are in right now. And I'd rather just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off now and move forward with something completely new. But I'm saying that's just my opinion. Everybody's welcome to have their own opinions too. I'm not going to sit here and bash other people's opinion. I'm just going to tell you mine. I'm seeing a Shane Lemieux and a O'Shane Zimenez mentioned in the chat. I don't know what's that about. TP Wade says, I'm definitely in support of promoting Brown. I think that's true. And again, you guys are absolutely right. John Mara does not want to clean house. He does not want to start from scratch. And I'll say this too. Just think about being in John Mara's position, right? John Mara, for the last 3 seasons, he has gotten used to not just the coach, not just the GM, but the entire staff, player personnel, scouting. He walks around that office all the time. He's recognizing faces. He's asking about people's families. He probably doesn't want to start all over again, building relationships and building trust in the building again. We saw that he has a pretty good relationship with Brandon Brown. He was in Brandon Brown's office too, not just Joe Shane's office. Bouncing some ideas off of him. So I understand that John Mara doesn't want to start from scratch again, and it goes deeper than just the head coach and the GM. It's all of those other people that are not making millions of dollars like the coach and the GM, that are working hard every day. Those guys are affected too by the product on the field, because a lot of those guys are not guaranteed to have a job. So when we look at Joe Shane's contract and Brian Dable's contract, they got 5-year deals. So if they get fired, they still get 2 years worth of salary. Your offensive coordinators, your positional coaches, your player personnel, if they decide to clean house with the scouting department, those guys don't have those same type of contracts. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are affected by what's going on right now. So I'm not going to take light with what I'm saying. I'm just saying that as a fan, as a consumer of New York Giants football, we're not getting our money's worth at all right now. We don't have one win at home. 10 points. I keep saying it, averaging 10 points. That's not even an NFL team right now. We're making history in a bad way. No, 100th year too. Like, it's a lot of things going into this decision. Like, they had this big campaign about 100 years, brought out new jerseys. They had the big showcase, the 100 greatest Giants players. They did all of this rollout just for the season to play out the way that it's playing out. Planes flying over the building, people with paper bags over their heads. It's bad, like really bad. Somebody won't be here next year. Like, we can at least admit that one of those guys cannot be here next year. It's not that, we can fire Shane Bowen or we can fire Mike Kafka. No, that's not good enough. Joe Shane, if it's not both of these guys, one of these guys is falling on the sword. Period, man. I can't see it any other way. And I'm still not betting that $100. I'm still not going to bet you that $100, man. Tone Lamont with the $5 super chat says, has Dable developed a single player who has had 2 good seasons under Dable, staff or player? Man, you would like to say that in the first season that he kind of developed Daniel Jones. I'm trying to think. Micah McFadden comes to mind. I would love to say Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, but no. Joshua Zudu, no. Daniel Bellinger, no, but that's not even his fault. Darian Beavers, no. Jordan Riley, no. Dave Banks, no. John Michael Schmitz holding on by a thread, and that I consider that my son. Jalen Hyatt, no. Eric Gray, no. Dane Belton, no. Yeah. Who? Can you give him credit for Dexter Lawrence? I think you got to give that to Wink. Andre Patterson. McKinney, we ended up getting rid of him. I mean, that's a great question. You guys tell me. You tell me. Mark says, my Giants 3-round mock. Round 1, Cam Ward. Round 2, Omarion Hampton. Round 3, Azariah Thomas. That's the cornerback from Florida State. Nazir Stackhouse, Georgia. I believe that's the Georgia 3-tech, right? 3-tech, yeah. I like it. Curtis Martin, fan for life, 28. Neighbors got to cook tomorrow in the fantasy football playoffs. Good luck. Good luck to you. Maybe you get a touchdown in 100 yards. He's 100 yards away from 1,000 yards, right? Good luck to neighbors tomorrow. Got Drew Lock out there throwing the ball. Maybe Drew Lock learned something from watching Tim Bull, last week. Just throw it up there. Just throw it. Just get rid of the ball. Just throw the ball. He'll make the play. He will make the play. Let's see what else we got going on. Wow, we already went past an hour. Wow, time is flying, man. Somebody give me the Ohio State score, please. Let me know how bad, because they were whooping. They were whooping Tennessee when I started the stream. Let me know what the score is for that Ohio State game. My man Solution says I'm good with Vrabel. Also, yeah, Vrabel's on my list too. He's on my short list. Again, I want a veteran. I do want a veteran head coach because I think we need that type of leadership. We took a chance on some first-time head coaches with Judge and Brian Dable. I want somebody a little bit more solidified. So Vrabel is also high on my list. I like Brian Flores for the same reason. Defensive mind, had some success with Miami. I never thought he should have got fired at Miami, but there was a lot of things going on. He had the controversy with Tua and all that. So, and then the controversy with the owner who was trying to tank and trying to get the coaches to tank, all that. Yeah. I like Vrabel though. He is high on my list too. James says we need to keep Brian as offensive coordinator and fire Joe. No, I gotta ask you this just to be clear. Are you trying to say you demote Brian Dable to offensive coordinator? Or are you saying, just keep him as, head coach, offensive coordinator, and fire Joe? Just to verify. Ronnie Rivers says Shane cleaned house when it came to our recruiting staff, but he still made bad decisions on keeping certain players. True. Now you can say again, you can't say that he was. Hold on, just a second. All right, let's see. Yeah, would you say? I forgot where I was. Brian as offensive coordinator and fired. No, I'm saying, is that what you're saying? But what did Ronnie say? Let me get back to where I was. Said Shane clean house when it came to our recruiting staff, but he still made bad decisions keeping certain players. No. He did that. If you want to say that, that first year he didn't have his full recruiting staff on board. And if you want to blame that first draft on him not having his guys in the building or his staff in the building recruiting, you can kind of say that. But also, it's not like he wasn't recruiting in Buffalo, like he wasn't going on visiting Buffalo. He knew a lot about these players that were coming in. And he decided to double dip at North Carolina with Azudu and McKeith and Darren. Well, I was high on Darian Beavers too. So, it's not like he went in here blind with that first staff. Well, I mean, with that first draft. Ronnie says fans don't want to pay money to tank, even if you're trying to get a draft pick. There are no guarantees when it comes to draft picks. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But listen, we need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. And the other thing is this: like, even before we were really tanking, we weren't winning. We really didn't need the tank. We're just a bad team that loses. See where we're at. My man Solution says both need to go, but Shane has done a worse job than Dable, which means Mara will keep Shane because whatever the wrong decision is, that's what Mara will go with. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. It's true too. It's funny. All right, Mark says, what about Jesse Minter, DC for the number one defensive Chargers? Won the national championship with Michigan, a part of that Ravens tree. Minter, huh? I haven't thought about Minter. He's actually he's doing a fantastic job with the Chargers. Like Harbaugh and that staff, fantastic job with the Chargers. 1 year turnaround too. It doesn't listen. If you have a quarterback in place, it does not take you a long time to turn things around. In regards to rebuilding, you saw what the Chargers did in 1 year. We see what the Commanders are doing. They're still in the playoff hunt in 1 year. You got other guys playing very hard now. The whole Chicago Bears situation. I see some people commenting on Caleb Williams in the comment section. I don't know. They're getting a whole new coaching staff over there, so we'll see what happens with that. Ronnie says, Dash, our season has been scripted. We had 6 touchdowns called back. The season is disgraceful. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. No arguments here. No, it absolutely is, for sure. For sure. We're going to wrap this thing up. So, you know what? We're going to get to this part of the show. Start to wrap this thing up. I want to get some game predictions. The New York Giants versus the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. We'll end the show with this. Let me know what you guys think, man. I do have the New York Giants losing to the Atlanta Falcons. I think the run game is going to be too strong for us. But the only thing is, it's a question mark when it comes to the quarterback. Even though I'm high on Michael Penix coming out of college, I'm not sure what he's going to look like, at this level. In the regular season, we saw him in the preseason for 1 game, and they saw enough and decided that, he's not worth getting hurt or anything like that. So they shut him down for this particular reason. They knew that he was going to be the future for the Atlanta Falcons. And it just took a while for Kirk Cousins to fall off a cliff. And once Kirk Cousins fell off that cliff, it took him a month to fall off that cliff. He started falling a month ago. But it is what it is. Stephen R. says, let's go Knicks. Did the Knicks win? Oh, Knicks, that game has to be what, third quarter, fourth quarter? Did the Knicks win? You let me know, Stephen. But I want to see some of these, before we get out of here, I do want to see some of these predictions. TP Way starts it all. Falcons 28, Giants 13. Whatever the score is, please lose. Please. Says Stephen R. says JB for quarterback 1. JB. Who's JB? Am I tripping? JB for quarterback 1. Who's JB? JB, I don't know, Joe Burrow. Oh, Knicks won 104.93. That's what's up. I think I bet the over though on the spread, so I didn't get that. I lost that one. I lost that parlay. I think I did bet the over. Oh, Jalen Brunson, you talking about basketball? Oh man, come on. I got you, JB for the okay. JB for quarterback 1. I got you now. I got it. It flew right over my head at first. Prince says Atlanta 28, New York Giants 13. Tyrone Hall also giving me the score of the Knicks game. Shout out to my man Diggy546 in the building. He says Big Penix energy. Hilarious. What's going on, Diggy? How we doing, brother? And again, if you guys are not subscribed to Diggy546, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. And all of the other Giants content creators actually in the comment section, TP Way, Wells to NJ, all those guys in the building. Make sure you guys subscribe to those channels, man. Great Giant content creators. Dope Dez says Falcons 21, Giants 13. Oh man, Emmanuel seems to be a Falcons fan. He said, I'm a Falcons fan. I'm excited to see Penix. You should be excited. Doing cartwheels, backflips, and all that. Penix is nice. I'm not sure what he's going to look like in his debut, but he is nice. I would have took him at 6. I'll say that. I said tempted to grab those tickets tomorrow, mostly to see Penix. That's a fact. You should do that, man. Tickets can't be expensive. I don't think. Steven R says, I'm just joking, but Cam Ward, you like Cam Ward? Okay, that's what's up. Rocky Fresh says, Raiders versus Jags will decide if we get Cam or Shador tomorrow. I forgot about that. That's a fact. Relic says, Big Dash, why you hating on the O-line? What do you mean? I'm not hating on the O-line. I was hating on the O-line. I didn't think I was hating on the O-line. Luann says 17-13 Giants. I see. Diggy says tickets went up because of his first. Yeah, that's what's the price though? It's funny too because I got an aunt that lives in Atlanta, big Atlanta Falcons fan. Actually, her handle is like her handle has Falcons in it, but yeah. So I'm surprised. I might text her. I think we're gonna lose, so maybe I won't, because she'll probably tap dance all over me if I text her. But shout out to Tina. Steven R says is too premature to buy a Miami Cam Ward jersey. Oh no, you can definitely do that. Oh, you talking about the video? That's right. You were, yeah. I did read your comment. We went back and forth a little bit. You want to throw our right tackle at? Yeah, I do. I think he's a better guard than right tackle. I really do believe that. And again, if you don't know, I'm an Alabama fan. I'm an Alabama fan. When we got Evan Neal, I was super excited. You couldn't tell me anything different. I'm telling you something different right now. I think he can go back to playing guard like he did his sophomore season at Alabama, and see if we can salvage something, because I don't think he's going to last out there, because I don't think he's going to be better than Jermaine Illuminor, man. I just don't think so, man. No, he says, wow. No, I really was a big fan of Evan Neal. I was excited, man. TP West says it went up from $5 to a whopping $20. Oh, that's funny. Diggy says 95 for those nosebleeds, not too crazy, but $30 higher than before. Okay. All right, well, listen, man. It is what it is, man. And if you do decide to go to the game tomorrow, Diggy, be safe. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody out there too. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up, man. It's still pretty early for everybody. Give you some time to enjoy with your family, maybe sneak in another Christmas movie with the family and the loved ones. But let me get a couple more comments, and then I'm gonna send my shout outs to everybody. Kyle Pitts dominate the game 38-17. Let the Penix era begin. Best deep ball thrower in the draft. That's a fact. The best thrower of the ball in the draft last year. We see eye to eye a lot, Mark. It was crazy what they put Penix through when you think about it. When he wrote a letter to the NFL, telling teams to give him a chance, or asking teams to give him a chance. He has a chip on his shoulder about as big as a boulder, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think they woke up a monster with the disrespect that was going on last year with Michael Penix, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this thing up, man. Shout out to everybody for hanging out with me. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing. We got this algorithm jumping. We'll see what happens tomorrow, though. I will be back here for a recap of the game, live recap. I know I didn't do the live recap last week. I ended up going to the Cardinals-Patriots game. Pretty good game. But yeah, I will be here for the live recap tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Either I'm going to be happy tomorrow or extremely pissed off. Extremely pissed off. Nova Nebula says Falcons 2, Giants nothing. That'll be awful. That'll be awful. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.